How's it going, everybody? This is my first video. Just wanted to start a channel on this. I recently discovered MGTOW, and I've been really diving into the community lately and just absorbing all sorts of information, a lot of which I already knew. So I'm going to start with giving a little bit of background. I'm not going to disclose my name. I'd like to remain anonymous for the most part. I don't, just because, when you talk about shit like this, especially in today's outrage culture, it's very easy to have your life and reputation ruined. So I'm going to remain anonymous for now. But just to give a little bit of background, I'm like a 20-year-old dude in my 20s, and I've had a few great relationships, and the first great relationship I had ended on an okay note. It was kind of mutual, the breakup. Both just decided to go our separate ways, and remained sort of in contact for about a year or two after. And then the next relationship I got into after that was about 5-6 months after that, and I fell like head over heels in love with this girl, and in my eyes she was amazing. And throughout the whole process, though, there was just red flag after red flag that kept popping up. And like most men, I ignored them. I played them off, not discerning them as major character flaws like they were, but rather things that I could fix in her. Well, about a year later, things fell apart, and when they fell apart very quickly. I mean, it was like, in like a couple weeks, things were done. And in hindsight, I realized it started falling apart way before that. There were things that I was doing that was wrong, of course, but ultimately, with my understanding of female nature, I started to figure out that it wasn't 100% my fault. And I started to look at things with the clarity that hindsight provides, and I started to see all the major character flaws and incompatibilities, as well as the inconsistencies and the negative behavior patterns, and I realized I kind of dodged a bullet, so I was grateful for that. But after that, it took me a while to get over that one, because like I said, I fell head over heels in love with that girl. And even when everything was falling apart, I saw it falling apart, and still tried to not make everything fall apart, but inevitability happened. And so for a while I was pretty brokenhearted. Just kind of tried to focus on myself for a while and work out, get that revenge bod going, and then got back on the dating apps like a month afterwards. And I had some success, like some conversations were initiated. I went on like 1 or 2 dates, but it just felt really dry. Like the women that I went on those dates with, past their looks, there was nothing there. No common interests. They didn't want to do anything with their lives. They seemingly just had no direction. And I know it's not the case with all women, but a lot of the women in the area that I live are just very, what's the right word to put it? They're not oriented towards success, to put it kindly. They're more interested in gaining social validation than doing anything meaningful with their time on this earth. So after a while on those dating apps, I started figuring, like, okay, I know I'm an attractive guy. All the girls I've dated are fucking 10s. Why am I not getting as many matches as I feel like I should be? And then I started looking up, ways to get around the system. Tried those, didn't really work that well. And most of the time, the matches that I kept getting were just not great. So I looked up, one day I remember my initial day discovering MGTOW. I typed into Google, why do dating apps suck so much? And the first video that popped up, one of the suggestions on Google, was a video by Sandman on YouTube, and it was about why Bumble is a piece of shit app. And from there I discovered a bunch more MGTOW videos, with Sandman ultimately becoming like the main source of my consumption. And after realizing the true nature of females right now, at least, it kind of dawned on me that, well, I'm trying to look for a good apple in a basket full of rotten fruit. So maybe I should go back to the tree instead of the basket full of rotten fruit. And what that means, I don't really know. I think I want to find a woman who has more of a traditional sense of femininity and not this weird, disgusting version of feminist ideology that's going around right now. A true Nawalt, rather. And Nawalt being not all women are like that. But for a while after that, to back up a little bit, I was a dating coach for a while, so I was teaching men, the best ways to pick up women, gauge attraction, and build attraction in other women. And, after doing that for almost a year, it started to dawn on me that I could tell all these men all these things, and I was using these same tactics myself, but no matter what kind of bait you use, if there's no good catches, you're not going to catch anything good. So that was when I went MGTOW and decided to delete all the dating apps off my phone and save my time, save my money, put it into more useful things that are actually going to provide some value and benefit into my life rather than more existential suffering. So, deleted Bumble, Tinder, all the dating apps off my phone, and just went full MGTOW and stopped flirting with women in public because I was just done with it. And it was kind of weird because as soon as I removed my attention and stopped giving a fuck, I had like 3 or 4 girls all trying to get at me at once, and I was just at that point so uninterested in pursuing a relationship or anything like that I just kind of ignored them. So, and I mean, not that they were ugly girls, they're certainly beautiful women, but I didn't want to invest the time and the effort just to have it go awry again, and the investment wasn't worth it for me anymore. And furthermore, it's like, one thing that really scares the shit out of me in this society is the fact that you can marry somebody, have children with them, have a house, have a life together, and then one day they can decide, today's the day, I'm done, I don't love you anymore, I'm taking the house, I'm taking the children, and I'm taking half your income. That is absolutely terrifying to me, and I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to have children with somebody who might decide one day to become a completely vindictive bitch and take my children from me, take my house from me, and try and take my money from me, basically to steal everything from me. That's a terrifying realization. And so I think that's where that's the main reason why a lot of men have decided to go MGTOW, because it's not worth it for us a lot anymore. It's like, what do we get out of that marriage deal besides a steady supply of sex that eventually turns mediocre because, once you get complacent in a relationship, it's just things start to drop off, and the quality of sex in a relationship, unless you know how to keep it going, just starts to fall off and dwindle, and you start to bicker and all that shit. But I think a lot of that also stems from people just not knowing how to communicate, which is partly why I became a dating coach, because I thought a lot of the reasons why relationships don't work out was because that people don't really know how to communicate properly in a romantic setting. But realizing what feminist culture has done to Western society, and especially the psyche of women in the Western world, it's like maybe the problem isn't that people don't know how to communicate, or rather, maybe that is a problem that is a lot bigger than I had once estimated it to be. And maybe it's gotten to a point now where no matter what I do, it's not going to change. So why waste my energy trying to prove something that just seems bleak? I can't see a reason to do it anymore. So instead, I'm going to turn that coaching business more into a personal success and career coaching type of thing rather than dating coaching. But anyways, this whole journey that I've been on the past month has really opened my eyes to the way that things are, the environment of dating and relationships, and just the fear that I have personally towards having a false rape accusation around me, having children with a woman, and then losing all of it, losing my relationship with my kids. That sounds like something I really, really, really do not want, and I can understand why a lot of men are going their own way. And hopefully, women wake up to this and they start realizing that, hey, if you're basically the equivalent of a garbage bag of a woman, then men aren't going to really want to stick around. If you're a vindictive, entitled bitch who's just going to turn on a dime and take everything away from us when we don't bow to every whim and will that you have, well, maybe they'll realize it sooner or later, maybe they won't. But all I can say is right now, for me, the risk is far too high and the reward is far too low. And knowing what I know that I can go out on a night, have a one-night stand, hopefully with no alcohol involved, so there's no sexual allegations involved. But it's just, for me, it seems more worth it to do just a quick pump and dump. As heartless as that sounds and as meaningless as that sounds, to get your sexual frustration out, it just seems better to do a quick pump and dump than invest yourself in a long-term relationship that's ultimately going to turn out to hurt you. And again, I know there are no Walts out there, but again, I think a lot of them are just wolf in sheep's clothing. So that's all I gotta say for this video. Thanks for listening to my first video. If you want more, I guess subscribe and like. I can't make any promises on how consistent I'm going to make this stuff. I really just kind of want to do it when I want to do it. So I feel like if I put a schedule on it, it's going to make me less inclined to want to do it. So if you want more videos, just subscribe and they'll come out when they come out. And I guess that's it. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day. And don't fall into the blue pill mentality.